Pierce finally left the accursed building, accompanied by Bradley and Colden. The companions in misfortune decided to use the Hawkins mansion as a hideout. What the fuck is going on?
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Okay, before I do anything else, let's have a look at my things. I have 6 available. Nice. Strength is no reason for that. I cut up investigation to full. Investigation represents your investigation talents. I don't know. That increases the chance of forcing doors or mechanics or using violence during interactive discussions. I don't really fancy using violence. Spot hidden could be quite good. Power of speech could be quite good. Understanding the scenes. This one here, yeah, this one here helps my lock picking. Actually, no wait. Should I put that to full? It increases the chance of understanding past events by analysing a crime scene or an object, and of picking locks. Yeah, that sounds good to me, honestly. The ability to pick locks and do all that shit. Let's see. Fuck. How many mental traumas can this guy just go through in this game? I'm this far in and I've only found 4. Nightmares, the ritual, macabre discovery, and the death of Sanders. Like, what the fuck did I miss? If those are the 4 I found, what the fuck did I miss? See, it would have to have been before the ritual. It's slightly worrying. Anyway, got Sanders, deceased. Oh, it actually shows me. Oh yeah, it shows me which one's deceased. So would he be on here as alive if I didn't go into that room and just went up the stairs? I have no idea. Anyway, Sellers of the Institute. Anything more for the occult? No, just that shit. Okay, anything else in my inventory? More knowledge. A couple of medicine books. Alright. Well, I guess just head downstairs and chat with these two.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
Okay, I can talk to Bradley. Let's do that.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Go for that one. So for that
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
Seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
I found this as an unlocked answer. Thanks for telling me what I'm about to do.
I found a Darkwater PD badge. Lost a colleague recently?
Where did I find that?
What the?
Bradley.
Ethan?
I'm all right. I just had a... It's gone.
You're sure?
If it's important, it'll come back. But I can't explain why Dr. Fuller would have that badge.
The man's a danger, believe me.
What can we do, Pierce?
Let's go for this one.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor then...
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
Let's go for... I'll to test psychology.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
You
I
were
get the
loud.
impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Okay, I guess my psychology isn't that good yet. Right, let's talk to her. Yeah.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Let's go for
Given
that.
the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was
Close
a
enough.
surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died
Freaking arm
and his son
movement.
Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
You don't
He
say.
wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
Yeah, let's go for that.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan, and I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Oh, I liked Ethan. Now he's come back from the dead as a bit of a dick. Let's go for that.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs. Pain. I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed... demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan.
Fucking
What
hell,
Mr.
Ethan.
Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
Okay, now I'm slightly worried, because they mentioned hallucinogenic gas was pumped in to the Institute. And I got a face full of that, and now I'm here.
I met a Francis Sanders. You know him.
Uh-oh.
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
Oh, by the way, he's dead.
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
Well, you see, what happened is he sort of just floated, and his neck broke. A sort of crisis, or he called him the Shambler. See, annoyingly, I feel like I can trust her, which in a story, like a Lovecraftian story, normally means I shouldn't trust her. Fuck it.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
You're right.
That's a good point.
Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Oh, that's not a good thing to say.
I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Okay, now I've got to talk to Sanders' widow. Do I just leave now? Am I okay to just leave now? Okay. Chapter 6, The Sanders Resident. Pierce, Colden and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow, Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to the widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. But yeah, I feel like that's the choice I made that affected my destiny. I mean, that's the right choice, right? It's... If I just literally went into a widow's house and went, "Ma'am, your husband is dead," and she went, "Oh, how did it happen?" And my response is, "Well, he sort of floated, and his neck broke." It's way easier at that point to go, honestly, no fucking clue.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well,
Uh-oh.
look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly, but he made a strong impression on me. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
And you're not gonna question that some dude claiming to be a private investigator just comes to your house and said, I spoke to your husband the day he died. Alright. Should I give my psychology a go? Or that one? Because I'm not gonna go for that one. He died screaming right before my eyes. That's not gonna help her at all.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course.
Uh-oh.
Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind.
That's
I need
fair.
to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help it?
I
mean, that's the best answer. Fuck it.
It's terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured? Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.